Okay. Hi to our listeners and viewers. This is Afia at Tech Online TV, which is proudly sponsored by Tech IT Solutions. So this is obviously the show that is the best. Catch the waves with Afia, and I'm with my co-host Batabile. Hi, Batabile. Are you good? Okay. And on the line, we have Imana Melanie Fonseca, who is actually psychologist. Would you kindly introduce yourself, Imana?
All right. Hi, viewers. Hi, listeners. I am Imana Melanie Fonseca, and I studied psychology, so I hold a BA honors in psychology, and I am currently a psychological counselor. I'm so excited to be on the show today, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for actually agreeing to this. So, for viewers and listeners out there who are wondering, oh, okay, so why do we have Imana? Do we address you as Dr. Imana? Or you just
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Okay,
Not
okay, okay.
yet, yes.
So we have our psychologist, Emmanuel. It is March, and in the month of March, if you guys don't know out there, it's actually a bipolar awareness month and also a self-harm awareness month. So we thought, why don't we, bring in this and talk about it, since we also know there's a stigma around mental health. Most of us people are scared to talk about it. Most of us judge people who have mental, issues and things like that. And I was like, no,
Mhm.
why can't we have, Imana here, break us down for us so that at least the stigma around mental health
Yeah.
can, decrease. Can you actually just briefly, Imana, just tell us like the stigma around it in a psychological way?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there is so much stigma around mental health
Yeah.
and mental health issues, mental disorders,
Does
and
yeah.
all of that, which, yeah, which shouldn't be there actually, because it's not that something is wrong or something is off,
Mm-hmm.
like about a person. It's not like they're crazy, because we always tend to put this term crazy,
Crazy.
like someone is crazy. That's the stigma that we want to remove. And we just want to know that these are normal people like us. It's just that they're facing challenges.
Yeah.
We all face challenges, just some of us can't cope the way normal people cope. We cope
Cope.
in different ways. And
Mm.
yeah, and when we are unable to do that, it turns into a mental health issue, it turns into a mental disorder. So really there's not much to having a mental issue. For me, I'd say it's normal, because that's how our mind responds, that's how our body responds to all the issues that we're going through. Just
Mm.
like how during winter you get sick, you catch a cold, you
Cold.
get
Yeah.
flu. That's how your body is responding to that particular season and the bacteria that will be moving around. So that's the same thing with mental health issues. Somebody is responding to a situation through depression. Somebody is responding to a situation through, like you mentioned, bipolar. Somebody is responding to a
Yeah.
situation through, for example, self harm.
Harm.
So literally, we shouldn't have so much stigma around that. But times are changing now,
Yeah.
and people are becoming more aware of mental health. They're becoming more aware of mental wellness, which is a good thing, and it's progress for us. So it means it gives us space to actually work on these things.
I actually love the way that you put it, like the way you broke it down. That it's just like in winter
Hmm.
and we catch a cold. Like I feel like
Yeah.
who wouldn't understand that? I have never actually met a mental health or counselor or psychologist who've actually broke it down the way that you did in simpler ways.
Oh, okay. Great. I'm so happy that I really want everyone to understand and comprehend the issue of mental health.
Yeah. But Tabila, I think you wanted to say something there.
Yeah, like the way she broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
I actually remembered something. You know, when you're growing up in the hood, whenever someone in the family is acting strange, they usually say
Mm-hmm.
whenever it's hot,
Mm.
then they start to act in a different
To
way.
wait.
Yes. So I just want to know if it's true or it's just a myth that we have as black people.
Okay. I think, do you understand what she's saying, Imana?
So can you please come again? Sorry, I didn't clearly get it.
No, I'm saying as black people, like we grew up in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever someone acts up in a different way, yes.
Oh, that blame the weather.
So yes, they will blame the weather and say because of it's hot,
Mm-hmm.
then the person will start acting in a different way. So I just wanted to find out if it's the myth or it's just
A saying.
Or
I think maybe it could be just a saying, because, back in the days, I don't think we were much more educated, enough. I feel like our parents or grandparents or our relatives will be like, oh, she's acting under the weather because it's hot.
Yes,
You understand?
yes.
And probably it's not that it's hot. There's something really troubling you, but we just have to use, because it's cold. When it's cold, Vele, she becomes moody.
yeah.
Okay, but anyways,
That's,
I want us to,
can I please touch on that one a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, with that one, back in the day, obviously, and depending on somebody's educational level, we could just say that it is just a saying that they had. But in their fact, like when it comes to psychology and you go deeper into depression, there's something called seasonal depression. So it might not, seasonal depression being that in winter you are depressed and then in summer you are you have manic episodes or something like that. So there is actually something called seasonal depression.
Okay,
but
I think we'd have to get on
that's
it
a story for another day.
Yeah. So I want us to actually look into the self-harming. What is really self-harming? I've watched a lot of shows where you'd see the people that are self-harming themselves. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. The girl she used to self-harm herself and things like that. So what is self-harming actually, Imana?
Well, self-harming is when someone hurts themselves on purpose. It's not a mental disorder, but it's most likely that it's not a mental disorder, but it's most likely that somebody is in a poor mental health state and it's linked to mental distress.
Okay. Yes. Oh, okay. So what you're trying to say is that it's not a mental disorder.
Yeah.
You see when we think we know about mental health and things like that. This is new for me. I literally thought it was a mental disorder.
I actually thought it's the same thing.
Okay.
I actually thought it's the same thing.
So, but then now, how does one actually recognize self-harm?
How do you recognize self-harm? It's visible. It's something visible because self-harm includes, for example, cutting. It includes burning oneself, like one's body, with lit matches, cigarettes, or sharp, hot objects. It includes carving words or symbols on the skin. It involves self-hitting, punching, biting, or head banging, and also it involves piercing the skin with sharp objects. It also involves inserting objects under the skin. So all of these are visible. So anyone can tell that you are actually injuring yourself. You're putting yourself at harm. Though some of the things people do is try to cover up, wearing long sleeves or putting a tattoo over. Putting a tattoo over it or something like that. But it's seen out there. If we pay attention, you can actually tell that, oh, this is someone who self harms. This is someone who injures themselves. Yeah, because it's just visible. And what these people are trying to do is that they're trying to turn all the invisible thoughts and the invisible pain, the emotional pain, and they're trying to make it into like a physical, into physical pain.
You
Yeah.
know, I know this could personally is, well, it's very personal, but I used to self harm as well. And the reason,
Okay.
the reason why, I hope I'm not gonna cry, but then so because years ago I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So, but well, I
Okay.
think I'm doing quite well. But then I do
Mm-hmm.
have my days here and there. But I'd also think probably that's a story for another day where we'll just focus on anxiety. So I think I
Okay.
actually would do that. Like, when probably I feel I am emotionally drained and emotionally pained and feel like I wish it
Yeah.
could just be physical. And then that's when I do it. So it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
now that
Yeah.
not it's a responsive to probably how you are feeling. Because if you're putting it
Yes.
like that, and at times I'll be like, oh my goodness, why did I just do this? Why did I just? But I don't do it anymore because I think I had to educate myself. Therapy also
Mm-hmm.
helped, and all those things, because also I feel like it's at times difficult to see if a person is really self-harming. Just like you say, we hide it.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
hide it. You don't
Yeah.
want people to see. Uh, and when you do, honestly speaking, I don't know what really
Yeah.
goes into our minds when we do it. Um, I know also of a friend of a friend who actually used to do it because she
Okay.
would be like, even celebrities do it to themselves. Miley Cyrus does it. This, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so for you it's a lifestyle. You understand? Like, for you it's a
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it's not a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's true. Like with what you're saying, that some of the risk factors include actually having friends who self injure. So just like your friend's friend who just did it because it's a lifestyle, it's something they saw and probably that they liked. For example, I can actually give an example that's so general that we would not even think about. Tattoos and piercings. That
yeah.
could be a way of self harm.
Yeah, true. Because once you start at times, you don't want to stop.
Exactly. And most of the time we don't know what that person who's getting the tattoo, what's the reason behind it. Do they want to feel the sense of control over their body? Do they want
Yeah.
to express an internal feeling? Or they just want to provide a distraction from emotion through physical pain? So that's why I find people with so many piercings and like so many people who even insert earrings, like these big round earrings on their ears. And, society, we've actually normalized that, and we don't ask so many questions, but it's just for
About
some of us
it.
to, yeah, exactly. Especially when we see and we can tell that no, this person wasn't this kind of person. They've changed, you know. So yeah,
But then now,
we really
how
need to be aware.
I think now this awareness that you've brought to us, I actually had never seen it that way. That now we need to think, if a person now constantly is piercing or constantly doing this, now it becomes a hobby. We need to ask ourselves, like, and be courageous to ask, are you
Yeah,
okay, or things like that. Even though we know that we want to drink water and mind our businesses, so that we
of
glow,
business. Yeah,
but I think it's always good to always, reach out. It's always good to reach out.
exactly.
So now, but how do we now be of help to a person who to self harm? If a person now comes out and like, okay, this is what I've been doing to myself. I'm coming to
Yeah.
confide in you because sorry to
Mm-hmm.
cut you there. We get scared, opening up.
Yeah.
We get scared of opening
Yeah.
up, and you feel like, okay, maybe now I'm gonna go to Imana and be like, oh, Imana, I've been self-harming myself, and then Imana was gonna tell a person, tell a person, tell a person, because it's not always easy to open up with things like that, because people come up with a lot of things. When you're demonly possessed, you know.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, that's it too.
And I think, especially in the black society,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being racist or
Yeah.
tribal, or things like that. But we Africans, I feel like we really turn a blind eye on things like this.
Mm-hmm. And that's where having stigma on mental health becomes an issue
Comes,
for us,
yeah.
because you begin to think twice whether I should refer this person to a psychologist or psychological counselor or a counselor, or like the nearest counselor you can refer them to. That's when it becomes an issue because of the stigma. But I would still say that, other than spreading the news out there and judging the person and coming up with different scenarios in your head, rather just look for somewhere they can talk to. Look for a psychologist they can go to, a psychological counselor they can go to, even a rehab they can go to. For us here in Swaziland, we
Yeah.
have the psychiatric unit, the
Mm.
psychiatric center. You are allowed to go there. You are allowed to refer a person to there. It's not for crazy people.
Yeah,
Like, it's not.
I think that's where it is, because I remember last year, this friend of mine actually texted me, and
Mm-hmm.
whenever she'd have down moments or she feels like she's melting
Yeah.
down, she'd call me, also do the same, because I felt like, I think we understand each other, because we know we have our
Mm-hmm.
mental issues. She literally texted
Okay.
me and she's like, I've admitted myself at a psychiatric place and I'm going to be here for 6 weeks. I don't want to lie. I was
Okay.
like, you can't be serious. She's like, no, I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this for
Uh-huh.
myself because I want to be I
Mm-hmm.
want the best version of myself. And I was like, okay, that's good.
Exactly.
So I know that people will be like, how? Afia, you're taking yourself to a psychiatric ward. Hey, boo.
And we also
Mhm.
have
What's going on?
Lasizwe.
Mhm.
Do you know Lasizwe?
Yes,
He
that's
also
his
went to
Yeah.
he also
admitted himself. Yeah.
Yes.
I think things like that is things that we
Yeah.
actually need to promote, if we see
Exactly.
people, especially like celebrities, that literally decide to do this
Mm-hmm.
and go out about it. I think it's not because, I know people will say, this one is doing this for content or saying this for content, and yet probably he's trying to change the stigma around that. We always expect
Mm-hmm.
celebrities to be at their best. Like, you've got money, so you
Yeah.
can't be telling me that you've got issues. You can't be telling me that you're depressed. You can't be telling me that, no, you have anxiety, or the list goes on and on. So for the people out there who
Exactly.
actually do it, not for the eye, because I don't think you'd actually decide to put yourself in a psychiatric facility for people.
For fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or for fun. So, on that, I'm really glad that, Ula Sizo did that. Showed actually the world that, no, it starts with you. You don't care what people say, because people are not kind out there.
Exactly.
Whether you're trying to fix yourself, we will still talk. You don't fix yourself, we will still talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think before we rush into something, you have something to say,
Yeah.
Batabile?
Imana, can you please
Yes.
help us with the organizations that we can at least refer our friends, family members, or anyone else that we know that they're currently facing
Going.
this mental disorder?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. In Eswatini, there are quite a number of psychologists you can go to,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them is myself with
So
psychological
in other
counseling.
even sorry to cut you, even to our listeners, our viewers, our subscribers, we will have, obviously we'll drop Imana's with her approval. Actually, I think it would be much more better to have like on your social handles, before we end, you'll just give us your social handles, so for whoever wants to reach out to Imana can reach out to her. Just because she's in in Swaziland, Eswatini, it doesn't mean that a person who is here in South Africa, or a person who's in Ghana, or a person who's in Ethiopia, or a person who's in France cannot be helped. So I believe that you're willing to extend that to her. I'm sure that she can help you and also refer you obviously to help.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll just also leave her social details, whether Facebook or Instagram, and then whosoever who may need her, because she's willing, to help. Help starts like this. This is what we are trying to do.
Definitely.
Help starts like this. So before our time, we don't have much time now, but I wanted us to also touch a bit on bipolar, because it's also
Yeah.
bipolar awareness. I know there is so much stigma around it. I know that there are people who, like you said, will be like, well, this one now has bipolar. We like to diagnose people. Woo, English. So can you just briefly tell us what really is bipolar?
Okay, bipolar is episodes of mood swings. So a person will have episodes of mood swings, depressive lows, and manic highs. But just to put it out there, plain and simple, it's like being excessively sad one moment, and then the next moment you're just overjoyed. That's just bipolar, like changes in mood. You just change in your mood, and this happens, like it may last for weeks or a month. It's not just a one-day thing. So please don't diagnose yourself and say, today I'm feeling sad, and then later on you get too happy and you say, no, I'm bipolar now.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Everybody will be like, yo, I'm depressed, and it's more like, do you even know what it means? Or I'm going through 1, 2, and 3, because I have actually seen a whole lot of people, like the mood swings will just change, and I'll be like to myself, okay, is this bipolar?
Yeah.
Because if you're saying that, behavior changes and all those things, but now, when you have bipolar, does it actually start like at a later age? How do I put it? I don't want to ask what is the age range of bipolar, but
Bipolar, okay.
But I think you understand what I'm trying to ask. Like, at what age can bipolar be experienced?
There's no particular age.
So even
no
like
particular age at all.
Even a toddler.
Okay, with toddlers, now what happens is in psychology, in toddler age and in the young age below 13, we don't believe anything much can happen to you because you're still going through the child developmental stage.
Okay.
So now, after 13, it becomes more real.
Okay.
It becomes more real.
Oh.
So from there, you can say you can be susceptible to anything. Depression, bipolar, anxiety, all of these. But with bipolar, there's no particular age that maybe when I'm in my 50s or just affect people who are 50 and above and all that. Because the thing with bipolar, it doesn't have an exact cause.
Yeah.
Yes. It is just influenced by genetics, your environment, altered brain structure, and chemistry.
Oh.
So that's the thing.
Oh. I'm actually learning a lot here. I'm actually learning a lot here. I think Batamila wants to also add on something.
Okay, I just want to know something about bipolar. Is it only
yes.
the mood changes? like when we say the symptoms, is it only the mood changes, or we still have other symptoms that we don't know of?
Yeah.
Okay, there's the main one is the change in mood. That's the main. So there's many different symptoms of bipolar. Bipolar is so broad.
Broad,
Yes,
yeah.
there's bipolar 1, there's bipolar 2, and it involves manic episodes, it involves hypomanic or major depressive episodes. So bipolar is really broad. But
Imana,
the main
please
description,
use simple English. Now I'm thinking which one is the hyper what I'm like, hey, okay.
Okay, let me explain before I get to the symptoms, like mania and hypomania. So mania is more severe than hypomania, and it causes a noticeable change and problems at work, school, social activities, and relationships.
Okay.
So it includes decreased need for sleep. Like you become so excessively hyper in a way, like I don't know, something just happens. Increased activity, abnormal upbeat and jumpy. You know, that's the mania and the hypomania part.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So
yes, it's an exaggeration
of anything.
It's an exaggerated. Yeah, the sense of well-being is exaggerated.
Like
so it's like you're just floating in the air, like in cloud 9 or something. It's an exaggerated sense of well-being.
Oh, okay, an
Okay, so for someone who
loses
interest easily, do we still see them as people who have bipolar? Because there are people out there, even like when you're joking with them, their mood just changes. Do we still regard them as people who have bipolar? Or it's just
that one has a less sense of humor.
I would say that it depends on how long they've been experiencing the symptoms of bipolar disorder.
Okay.
I think yes, that's when you can diagnose a person. But if you're just having a conversation and someone is just turns moody or something, maybe they didn't like something about the combo, they don't have a sense of humor that you have. You know, there's a lot of things to it. So that's why we try to discourage people from self-diagnosing themselves and also diagnosing other people.
You know, I think we have touched on the most important things in this. I think with the bipolar, I think we really need to have like a full episode on it. So, you know, just to put it all together, actually, like everything about mental health. How can we be of assistance to a person with a mental health issue?
I know people say this all the time, like everyone is literally saying this, but let's just be kind to one another.
Exactly.
Let's be kind. We don't even understand what the next person is going through. So then the last thing that we need is to face a lot of judgment, criticism, backlash, and all of these things. You know, with self-harm, for example, if I can go back to the self-harm, people with self-harm have an issue mostly with coping with their emotions, you know. So if someone comes and is being so critical, so judgmental, I can only imagine how worse it makes them feel or how they try to handle that and cope with it, you know. So it's just to be kind to one another, to try to understand that we are people and we go through the most. Not all of us might end up with a mental disorder or have mental health issues. But it's just the way it is. So I hope that we can be kinder to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I think be kinder, learn how to, like I know we say a whole lot of words. I'm one person that usually I'm sarcastic, but in my sarcasm, I
Yeah.
always make sure that I'm sarcastic in a way that when my sarcasm to the person that I'm directing it to is not going to feel
Mm-hmm.
less of himself or herself, and also I think
Yeah.
when you see somebody's mood, the things that you will say, and things like that. I actually lost a friend because she made a very bad joke about my anxiety in front of a lot of people. In front of a lot of people, we out there having fun. So now I was on my phone, so I had frowned, and I think she said something like, "You see, people who have got anxiety disorders think that they're the only people going through much. Just look at her; they're frowning at herself. Probably now she's just going to start and be saying she has heart palpitations and things like that." People laughed, hey? And I
Wow.
was just
Mm-hmm.
so broken because how can you actually say that? And then what she said? She was like, "No, I was just
Yeah.
joking. I just wanted people to see how you look when you're frowning." Okay, you could have
Oh,
simply,
wow.
said it in another way than having to point out something that I'm battling with. You
Exactly.
understand? It could have been, a joke like, "Oh
Exactly.
my guy's my friend," but no, she just decided, boom. And now I don't know how I should feel at that time. Some people laughed, but
Mm-hmm.
others didn't know if should this be the time where we laugh, or now should they come
We
to me and
love
be like, "Are you
God.
okay?" And at the same time, I don't like
Okay.
that sympathy. you know I feel like people who battle with mental issues, I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably not the only one. They don't usually like sympathy, like to be, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah, because most of us, I think, we feel like we don't want to be burdens and all those things. And because in the black
True.
community, you are made to seem as if you're not
Mm-hmm.
normal. So
Yeah.
on the kindness, really, I'd really
Yeah.
advocate for that. We really need to be kind. We've seen a whole lot of celebrities even taking their lives, and things like that. You go on to social media, we the things that we say to each other, the things that we say to each other.
Yeah.
Next thing, boom, someone has committed suicide. Guys, we should learn to be kind. The following day, we're still the same people bashing each other again. So with that, and also,
Mm-hmm.
Imana, what about actually going for counseling? I feel like you said we have to talk to a person and all those things. Psychologists are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are expensive, eh? You guys don't come cheap. You guys don't
So
come
we
cheap.
don't.
But
Well, it's just a service we provide.
no, it's a lot. Many people will say, "So now, if I'm coming to your office, am I gonna come and throw myself on the couch, face down, share my problems, and then you listen?" Because in TV, that's how it's portrayed. But I think Batemile wanted to say something.
Yeah.
So Imana, one last question from me. With someone who has anger
Mm-hmm.
issues, I'm pretty sure that's one of the symptoms. So if the person has anger issues to a point that maybe when he gets frustrated, he throws things at you, how
Yeah,
do we tend to deal with
Okay.
such?
with
Do I need
such.
to isolate myself from him, or
That's
do
a
I
good
need to
one.
be
Please
still
come
be
again.
kind? Okay. I have a cousin, so I think he's also going
Okay.
through this mental disorder issues,
His
and I'm sure anger issues is part of
of
is one of
it.
the symptoms. So sometimes when he gets frustrated, he just draw whatever he has on his hand.
Throws things
Yes, he
around
draws it to you. So how do we deal with such
a
people?
person.
Yes, do we need to isolate ourselves from him, or do we still need to be kind? I don't have a problem with being kind towards him,
You
but at some point I feel like I'm also at
okay?
risk because he might hurt me.
Mm.
Okay, with that one I understand, but anger, I didn't get to which disorder you put it under, but I'd like to highlight that one of terms of bipolar disorder. Though some people who may throw things around if they're bipolar, but anger isn't one of them. What I can say is that get him help. Get him help. Still be kind to him and try to figure out what the issue is with him,
What
like
triggers
with
him?
maybe family members who are experiencing family members who are experiencing the same thing with you guys. Just start to note the things that are giving him this kind of response, this kind of reaction, and do get him help. He probably just needs somebody to talk to and release all the anger. He could be going through something worse than that. We are not sure, but just don't just shut him out and block him out. There's probably something somewhere that went wrong, and he just needs to be helped and understood. That's the reason we are here as psychologists, is just to get a better understanding of help you get a better understanding of yourself, of what you're going through, a better understanding of how you can help yourself as well. So he needs help. If he's someone who wasn't this way previously, then he definitely needs the help.
But then you psychologists, I believe that you guys also go through a lot. So who do you guys see? You see your colleague. I've always wondered, like, okay, all those people keep a whole lot. Like, you see different people, right? Obviously different patients day in, day out. How do you guys even handle the pressure? You know, like seeing all those people. Do you also guys feel like, no, I think I need counseling, I need therapy?
Actually, that's exactly how it goes. A psychologist needs another psychologist. So yes, a psychologist needs another psychologist.
So it's not only us, even our doctors need the doctors that doctor them to doctor them.
Exactly. And now with us, it's a little bit extra because, in the ethics of psychology, you're not allowed to reflect your emotions onto a patient's case. There's a lot of things involved. So you definitely really need a psychologist to sort out your own issues so that you can help others sort out theirs. So
That's
yeah.
But it was so good catching up with you, Imana. We really appreciate, and I hope this is not going to be the first and last time, because remember, as I told you, that I would like us to have these episodes, because I believe that it doesn't just start with a large broadcast. You understand? It doesn't just start with only on TV where we should learn these things. Those are things that we need to apply it on our daily lives. If you have a friend, as Imana has said, guys, we should be supportive. Try to find people help, even though it's hard. The way it's so hard to say to a person you need help, or force a person to probably go counseling. I think before I close, let me just ask you one question. If a person is not willing to get the help that maybe we feel like, no, Afia needs to get help, but I'm not willing for that help. How do we, I don't want to use the word force. How can you guys now force me to go for help? How, if I'm not willing, and maybe probably you have seen that, no, Afia, I think you're not really okay. Probably you should talk to a professional person. And then I'm like, no, and so just in case the person, let's say the person is suicidal or things like that, or even at times all these mental health issues can even lead one to end up taking their lives, even if the person may have not been suicidal, but probably like, let me just, how does one convince one to seek help and actually go and get the help?
After all the persuasion is done and you've tried everything and they still say no, because you can try to persuade someone to a certain point and they still refuse, then there's nothing you can do. It's totally up to them, because the person that will be in the session is them and not you, you know, and the one who's meant to do all the changes and do all the exercises, the homework and all of that that's put into a session is not you, it's them. So if they're not willing to, if they're not willing to, then there's nothing you can do but to just keep on talking to them about it and try again to persuade them. Other than that, well,
no.
If that's what they say, then there's nothing.
There's nothing else to do, but we just keep on trying. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Imana. This was very, very lovely and eye-opening. And I really hope that our viewers and listeners actually learned something. Please also drop your social thingy names, you know, in case if there is a person out there who would like to, you know, think. I don't know if you'd be okay with your phone number, you know, being out there. Maybe if you feel like your Instagram handle, Twitter handle, if you're on Twitter, Facebook, you know, TikTok, any way that people can be able to reach you if they need help.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, guys. I've really enjoyed this time to just share more information about mental health. It's really much needed, and I honestly cannot wait for the next episode. We do a mental health talk, chat, and like, I just feel like let's just keep being better people and keep striving to have the best mental health we can have. And you can get me on Instagram and on Facebook as Melanie Imi.
Okay.
I hope you'll find that one. I'm sure they'll drop the handles there. Melanie Imi. And I'll also make sure that they put up my email address rather than phone number.
Yes. Okay, we'll do that. We'll make sure that we put up your social handles and also your email address. So you can quickly just send it to me so that we can drop it there.
Okay, that will be perfect. And I look forward to having clients from all over the world. Don't worry.
Of course, I mean, technology has, improved. So at times you don't need a one-on-one session where you can see the person physically, you know, even, telephonically.
Online.
And online. So thank you so much, Melanie. Thank you so much. Okay, then bye.
Bye, Manny.
Bye.
Okay, so listeners and viewers, that was Melanie Fonseca, who is a psychological counselor who was on the line. I hope that we learned a lot. I learned something, and I actually shared something, well, that I never thought I would share like this. But then, we go through a whole lot of things. We even decide to do things to ourselves that are not okay, self-harm and all those things. You know, we need to try to educate people out there. You have something to say, Batabile?
I just want to say thank you so much for bringing up this topic.
Yeah,
it really helped me, and I'm sure it's gonna help everyone else out there. So this was
educational
educational and
I was tear dropping at some point. Holding back tears, but
are those tears of joy or what?
No, like when you share something or you talk about something whereby you've been through it, or even if you're going through it, it's never like a honey moment. It's always a bittersweet moment, because all the time you have to think twice. It might come back and haunt me, probably I can be walking on the streets and be like, oh, so yeah, that's the girl who used to do 1, 2, and 3, so hence I'm saying. So I just had to think about it all because I was like, okay, should I hold it? But I couldn't hold myself. But anyways, it wasn't for a bad reason. It was for a good cause. And to our listeners and viewers, so whosoever will be obviously tuned in and listening to this and you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe, like, and as well comments. We really appreciate all the comments that you actually share with us. And Batabile, are you good? Want to round things up?
No. Okay.
Okay. So well, Batabile is such a great co-host, guys. Like every time I'm always blah blah blah, and she'll always be like, then I'll be like, okay, I need to calm down because it's like my sugar levels are now all up there. But anyways, thank you for joining me. This is Catch the Waves with Afia and of course Batabile. From me and Batabile, it's a TTF and Tata for now, guys.
Cheers.